When U.S. Vice President Mike Pence touched down in Ottawa for a brief visit yesterday, the new free trade agreement and tensions with China were obvious talking points. But the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, had another item to put on the agenda.
A significant amount of concern amongst Canadians on the new anti-choice laws being passed in a number of American states, and highlighted that Canadians, and indeed this government, will always be a staunch defender of women's rights and a woman's right to choose.
I know that Canada will deal with those issues in a manner that the people of Canada determine most appropriate. But for President Trump, for me, for our administration, we'll always stand for the right to life.
With a number of U.S. states enacting far-reaching anti-abortion legislation in recent weeks, the debate over a woman's right to choose seems to have taken on new urgency, even here, north of the border. Earlier this week, Bloc Québécois MP Monique Paz introduced a motion in Parliament affirming Canadian support for abortion rights.
I imagine that you would find unanimous consent for the following motion, that the House of Commons, let me finish please, that the House of Commons reiterate that a woman's body belongs to her and to her alone, and recognize her right to choose an abortion regardless of the reason.
A standing ovation came from parliamentarians of every major party with the exception of the Conservatives. But is the right to choose really under threat in Canada? And is the issue being politicized in this election year? We'll delve into that with two pundits in a few minutes. First, one group that is trying to make abortion a political issue here in Canada is the organization Right Now. The group aims to get pro-life candidates elected across the country. Alissa Golob is the co-founder of Right Now, and she joins me from Calgary. Good morning.
Good morning.
So what is it that your group is doing to try to make abortion an election issue here in Canada?
Well, our main focus is to put public policy up with public opinion. The majority of Canadians want restrictions on abortion. They are against sex-selective abortion, and these things aren't currently emulated in our parliament. And so I think our job and our organization's focus is to nominate and elect politicians who will stand with preborn children, they'll stand with women across Canada, and prevent us from becoming the only democratic country in the world with absolutely no laws or regulations on abortion.
Now, what data do you have to back up that claim that the majority of Canadians want to see restrictions on abortion? Because from what I understand, the latest Ipsos Reid polling that has come out that says that the majority of Canadians are comfortable with where things stand right now.
Well, the problem with a lot of those polls is that they actually don't notify Canadians what the laws on abortion actually are. In a 2013 Angus Reid poll, over 40% of Canadians who answered their poll actually didn't know what the laws were. They thought that abortion was illegal after the first trimester. So in 2016, right after the last federal election, an Insights West poll, it showed that 49% of those who voted Liberal in the last federal election, 53% of those who voted NDP, and 66% of those who voted Conservative want restrictions on abortion. So these are the polls that we're going by, and just by talking with everyday Canadians, going on the streets, being a grassroots movement, going door knocking to identify voters, these are all things that continuously remind us that Canadians want restrictions on abortion.
Are you working officially with any specific political parties to sort of give this issue some traction?
We're a non-partisan organization, so we'll work with any winnable candidate from any political party across the country, whether it be provincially or federally. But I will say that right now, Justin Trudeau is very out of line with how Canadians think on this issue. We don't agree with his extremism, and we saw that ever since he first became leader, saying that, being the first Liberal leader to prevent pro-life candidates from running, and then removing a young female MP from the chair of the Status of Women Committee purely because he disagreed with her views, to the Canada Summer Jobs issue. The majority of Canadians don't agree with those things. They don't agree with his extremism. They don't, when he was first asked about sex-selective abortion, he responded that it's a woman's right to choose. You ask any Canadian if they're in favor of sex-selective abortion, and over 90% will say no. So Justin Trudeau does not. He's very out of touch with Canadians when it comes to this issue, and he doesn't speak for me as a young Canadian woman.
Now, you say he he doesn't speak for you, but you've just cited 3 issues that have come up in the past 2 years on Parliament Hill. You're citing data from a 2016 survey. Do you have new information to say that Justin Trudeau's position is out of touch with Canadians? Because the timing on that doesn't corroborate.
Well, I think just the pure backlash. I mean, even people...
What backlash? What backlash specifically?
When the Canada Summer Jobs issue came out, most of the mainstream media, including Liberal MPs within his own caucus, were speaking out against that specific agenda item. And so I think just purely from backlash from Canadians, from the political commentary to politicians across the board, really resonated and showed that he is out of touch and that these are not issues that we agree with.
Traditionally, your movement and your position has been connected to conservative politicians, whether they be in the United States or whether they be in Canada. But Andrew Scheer, the leader of the Conservatives, and I had double confirmed this with his director of communications a couple of days ago, the Conservatives say if they are elected, they will not reopen the debate on abortion. What do you make of that?
Well, I think Stephen Harper said the same thing, and when he was Prime Minister for 10 years, or leader for 10 years, and we had multiple pro-life bills or motions come up. So I understand that Andrew Scheer and Stephen Harper are leaders of a big tent party, and pro-lifers are part of that party, just like they were part of the Liberal Party previous to Justin Trudeau, when a handful of them voted against Ray's reproductive motion. So our focus will continue to be to nominate and elect pro-life candidates who have a very good chance of winning, and to have them represent us in Parliament.
Do you believe the Federal Conservative Party when it says it will not reopen the abortion debate?
We don't want we don't want a government bill on abortion. That's never been the plan. We saw what happened back when a government bill was put forward in 1990, I believe. So that's not the strategic goal of the pro-life movement. And our goal is to get pro-lifers elected that will represent us in Parliament.
Now, do you have any examples of your organization successfully influencing, whether it's a nomination or any sort of a candidate coming into being in a position to run for office?
Well, we've been involved in multiple leadership races, I think over 6, federally and provincially across the country. Our first either number 1 or number 2 pick has won. In the majority of those, we've been involved in various nominations, including, one of our first ones was Sam Osterhoff in Ontario. So we are very involved, and we're a new organization still, but our goal is really to try and find common ground with Canadians, find out, where they stand, what kind of where there is common ground on this issue, and pursue that politically.
Alissa Golob, you are the co-founder of Right Now, a Canadian pro-life organization. You're in Calgary. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much.